after sitting on my ass for about a year following the death of my older brother, per Psalms 46:10, I finally decided to get back up on my feet. So it was around mid or late August, early September, 2022. I was going through the drive-through at Wendy's, and they had a little sign on the window. You know the sign they have saying that they're hiring. So I pulled up to the window to get my food and switched on the real nigga mode. And after she handed me my food, I said, "Hey, y'all need some help in there?" And she responded, "Yeah." And I said once again, in real nigga mode, "Shit, you trying to put me on or no?" And she told me to be there tomorrow, the next day, at like 6 p.m. It was like the sun was going down, so whatever time that was. I said, "Bet," and graciously said, "Appreciate it," and I was on my way. Of course, I got the job, and then she put me on the schedule for the very following day, after the interview. So like I asked, and then 2 days later, I was at Wendy's working. So once again, I was employed. That week, I had also put in a few other job applications. I put in for some avionics jobs too, like just everywhere. And I actually got an offer out in Texas, like to come out there. They was gonna pay for me to come out there, all that. And avionics, I don't know if you know, but that's what I was doing prior to quitting my job in the Air Force as a reservist and a civilian WG-12, working full time as well. But yeah, I was offered the job out in Texas, but I was hesitant, and something had just told me to remain still. As I began to, clock hours at Wendy's, immediately I started feeling it, and I saw myself heading back into the life that I had already assassinated. One of paying bills and being expected to hold up a household based off of my income. So after a couple of weeks of walking to work, I had a ride every now and then. Shout out to my grandma. Shout out to the other bro. I had told my mom, I was like, "Hey, I can't do this anymore. I cannot continue working or paying bills." Because I already knew I was stepping back into that where the other person would have been, you know what I'm saying? So she ended up, probably a few days went by or whatever, and she ended up mentioning Job Corps. And so I just hopped online, checked it out. I saw that they offered housing and whatnot. They feed you and everything. And I already been in the military, so shit, that's really all I need to thrive, and they had a gym. So I really wasn't tripping. Like, I wasn't going there to get a job per se, And at that time, I was 23, about to be 24. So it was really getting, and it was cutting close. I only had like a few months to get in because is the Job Corps still open? I don't know. I heard somebody told me they were shutting down all the Job Corps or something. But if you attended the Job Corps, comment, like this video, subscribe, actually. But yeah, anyways. So, after viewing, whatever they had to offer, which was the necessities, I immediately applied. The recruiter reached out, and before you know it, my mom was driving me up to Montgomery to drop me off. So, I've been a soldier, so it ain't nothing for me to get dropped off in a random location. I had once again successfully dodged a life of me having to pay bills by income. Once again, it was then, only when I had officially sacrificed my entire old life, one that would have had me set up, that it was that October, a month before my due date. Not exactly a month, but damn near, basically exactly. In my head, exactly. In this world, exactly. It was then in that October I received my 20 million that I had asked for on November 23rd, 2020. While I was in my little Montgomery Job Corps bed with my 3 roommates, which were basically children, which were basically like these, you know, the Job Corps people. And shout out to the bros, you know. But yeah, my roommates. I was sitting there on my bed, my headphones on, because them niggas was always loud, always talking. Like I said, they were children. So I didn't want to hear none of that shit. That I received my 20 million. I was scrolling on Instagram. Boom. It hit. After it hit the account, I immediately knew keeping my faith is what brought me here. And that I was exactly where I needed to be. So whatever happened from this day forward, I really don't give a damn, because I got exactly what I asked for. And it was exactly on time. The old life, the old me, the old friends, the old bitches, the old hoes, the old niggas, the old whore-based relationships, the old prostitute-based relationships had to die. God had to clear it out. Had to clear it out. So the sacrifice I had made paid out on time, early even, with profits and rates of interest that had accrued in such ways that I could have never fathomed. Could have never fathomed. So those of you on the journey within, keep heading that way. To those of you who have real goals, real dreams, stick to it with all of your might, with all of your attention, with all of your faith, with every ounce of your being. As we were all promised the same thing in Matthew chapter 7, verses 7 through 8. We were all promised the same thing. Most people chase money, and in pursuit of chasing money, you will end up selling a piece of your soul. Go check out my other video. What's that? Sexual Trauma Part 1. Go check out that video. As the incomplete me had done, you know. A life of whoredom where you give to only be tricked in the end and to never receive. While in that status, shall I say, taken advantage of, used and abused, and really it serves us right. Because thank God that I made the choices and that I did what I did in order to, you know, I can't help but be grateful. Because I feel like what I paid was minimal. I lost a little hair. I lost a little hair when I jumped from hitting them rocks. But I kept faith on every rock I hit. I lost a little hair. But hey, I'm 10 years later. I still look, people say I still look young. And I'd be like, stop lying to me. Look at my hair, bro. But anyways, there is here, right now, in this very moment, is the land of redemption. If you can really take the time and muster up the energy to peek through And if you feel like life just keeps offering you detours, quick job there, quick job here, a safe route, it's not a coincidence. It's a test. Now all them other, you're not them. So those ones that's settling for security, let them have whatever they deem as a security. Because like I told you, it's a test. Now if you just making up, I can't even go there with you. But what if everything you asked for was already on the way, already here? Like I said, you just had to, what if you just had to muster up the energy to peek through? But what if everything you asked for was already on the way, but required one final sacrifice? What if it required one final sacrifice to unlock totally, completely, for you to what if God said, and so I'm just gonna say it in a more simpler way, what if holding the line, what if holding your faith was the very instruction that heaven was waiting to reward? What if holding the line was the very instruction that heaven was waiting to reward for you standing in your proper person? If you're navigating delay, discomfort, uncertainty, do not fold. Stay in position. Breathe. Engage your core. And breathe. The door is opening. Honor the instruction. Watch the provision arrive early with interest. I love you more than you will ever know. And thank you, as your lives are currently overflowing with the beefiest, most purest form of abundance.